Yes.
Yeah, loud. Like loud. Yes. And just ask her. Madam, sir is live now. Could you please check? Madam. How do you know who else is joining? Okay. Okay, what time should I, when should I tell him to start speaking? Maybe.
Admitted?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, let's start it.
Okay. Good evening to you. I think I'm audible. Viewers of Abhinaya Bharati, Dr. Arvind Kulkarni, Dr. V.T. Nayak sir, Dr. Jyoti, good evening to you. First of all, I must thank Abhinaya Bharati for giving me an opportunity to deliver 3 to 4 talks on the plays of my choice. This is my first talk of this series. Every Tuesday, 7 o'clock till the end of this month, I'll be delivering lectures on drama and theatre. Today, I'm going to speak on Federico Garcia Lorca's very important play, Yerma. I have been asked by the organizers to speak for about 30 to 40 minutes. So we all know that Federico Garcia Lorca is an important Spanish playwright. I don't know whether his plays have been translated into Kannada or not, but we have been reading Lorca for a very long time, and the plays of Lorca, Lorca as a playwright has made a tremendous influence on modern Kannada writers, including Chandrasekhar Kambar. When you read Lorca, you feel like reading Chandrasekhar Kumba, especially you remember a couple of plays. Um, you are made to remember a couple of Chandrasekhar Kumba's plays like Jokumara Swami and Sri Sampike. Uh, and Lorca didn't live for a long time. I think he was killed at the age of 36, 37. I don't want to talk about his personal life, his political affiliation, and his involvement in socio-political movement and so on. The reasons why he was, killed and so on. I will focus mainly on his play. To begin with, let me admit that Lorca is one of my very favorite writers. I am never tired of talking about Lorca and his plays and poems. And I taught a couple of his plays for my students for a long time. This is a Spanish play, and Lorca calls this play a tragic poem. He describes this play as a tragic poem, and if you read it, you will understand why he calls it a tragic poem. It's a play, but it's a long poem. It's not a very big play. It's about 30 to 40 pages, but it reads like a poem, a long poem, and it is a tragic poem. Because tragedy happens at the end of the play. It doesn't happen only in the last, in the final scene of the third act of this play. It happens at the beginning of the play itself. So I'm going to talk about this tragedy. The play is about a childless woman. The play is about a childless woman. The play is about a barren woman. The play is about a woman who can't bear children. And the protagonist of the play is Yerma, a young woman, and she has been married for 2 years when the play begins. She has been married for 2.5 years when the play begins, and she doesn't have a child. And she longs for motherhood. She wants to be a mother. She wants to give birth to a child, or rather, she wants to give birth to children, not just one, many children. She is waiting for the day when she can deliver a child, and she would feed it. She would feed her child and play with her child. She would allow her child to bite her nipples and play with her breast and so on. It's a wonderful play. It's a wonderful play. And I like the play for its freshness, for its loveliness and liveliness, the dialogues, the plot, and the problem, and for many dramatic qualities, I like the play, and anybody would like this play. And Lorca is a world-class playwright, although died at a very young age. And when we read the play, we realize that it is difficult for anybody to understand the dilemma, the pains, the tragedy of a woman who does not have her children. People say it's all right if you don't have children, you can adopt one or two and you can get along. And why should you have children? It's not that every woman should have a children. This is what we say. Those who have children can say this, but those who don't have children, those who can't have children, those who do not have the ability to beget children, will be undergoing tremendous pressure, and will be will suffer a lot. So the play is about one such woman called Yerma, who has been married for 2.5 years and who does not have a child and who longs for children, who desires, who has an intense desire to have a child. And the plot is very simple. You just need 1 or 2 minutes to explain to narrate the story is very very simple, but the manner in which the plot is structured is very important. The structure of the plot, the dialogues, the freshness, and observations about man and woman relationship. What is man? What is woman? What is this marriage and marital relationship, and so on. So for many reasons we like this play. It is a Spanish play, and names are very typically pronounced in Spanish. Yerma, they say Jerma. Her husband's name is spelling is Juan. In Spanish, it's Juan. And the English teachers will pronounce this as Juan. We have John in English, but it's Juan in Spanish. That doesn't matter. Let's not bother about pronunciation. It is neither your problem nor my problem. So, from the beginning of the play till the end, you see Yerma talking about a child, dreaming of child or children, longing for children, desiring for children, and all her talks are about the child. And all her concern is about having children. And all her worries are about not having children, about her barrenness, and about her inability to beget children, and so on. And which becomes an obsession with her at the end of the play. It becomes an obsession. She loses control over her activities. She doesn't know what she is doing, where she is going, with whom she is talking, and so on. And she's not an ordinary woman. She's not a bad woman who can fall for any man for children. And there are women who try to exploit her situation and use her for their own selfish benefits, and she of course doesn't allow. She's a young woman and very powerful woman. And Kambar's plays, Chandrasekhar Kambar as a playwright talks about strong women and strong men and women like that. And Yerma, women characters in Lorca are very powerful women, very robust women, very strong women, and they are capable of begetting children. They are capable of delivering children. They are not happy with 1 or 2 children. They want to have as many children as they can. So, in the beginning of the play, Yerma meets Maria, and Maria has been married for a couple of years, and she has already a child. And Yerma likes Maria because she has a child, and she can take her child and play with her child, and love her child. So she likes Maria, and now she has never conceived a baby. She has been denied the not the chance or the opportunity to conceive a baby. When you conceive a baby in your womb, how do you feel? That experience, very unique, very unique. Only women can have this experience, not men. And men cannot have some very strange experiences that women can have, like childbearing, conceiving a child. And she wants to know how one feels, how a woman feels when she conceives a baby in her womb, from 3 months till it is she delivers. So she asks her her friend Maria, how do you feel? Then she says, she asks her a question. Maria asks a question to Yerma. Have you ever held a live bird in your hand? Have you ever held a live bird in your hand? This is very typical. This is very characteristic of Lorca. You know, when you hold a live bird in your hand, you can feel the pulses of the bird. So keeping baby in her womb is as good as holding a live bird in your hand. So she asks, have you ever held a live bird in your hand? And she says, yes, I have done this. But there is difference between holding a live bird in your hand and having a baby in your womb. She says it is the same, but it is right inside your blood. The baby in your womb is right inside your blood, and the bird is in your hand. So baby is an integral part of woman's body. So it is connected to her body. Woman's body is like a machine, and the baby in her womb is connected to her other parts of the body. When the child is born, then it is dissected. It is still bound to her mother. That's why the bond between mother and child is deeper, is deeper and far more richer than the bond between the father and the child. Then Maria also tells how does one woman feel when the child or baby in her womb kicks the first kick. No man can have this experience. He can only touch the belly of his wife and feel something. That's it. So Maria says, they say that later on it kicks you gently. It kicks you gently with its little feet. When the child in your womb kicks you with its little feet, you will have a very strange kind of experience, which is a heavenly bliss. And Yerma, who doesn't have the first-hand experience, says, and that's when you feel most love for it, when you say to yourself, that is my child. Uh, when your baby in your womb kicks you, then you love it most. You feel most love for it. And when you say to yourself, yes, that is my child. This is extremely beautiful. Extremely beautiful. She thinks you know, thinks about the child and about breastfeeding. She speaks very, very, very poetically. Every line that Maria or Yerma or Kwan speaks in this play is poetic, and it is there are a lot of poems in also. Women sing good poems. Yerma says, I have seen my sister feed her baby with her nipples all cracked and sore, and it was really painful for her, but it was a good, wholesome pain. It kept her healthy. Sometimes, when it sucks milk from its mother's breast, can bite nipples. I have seen at least I have seen my mother beating my young brother sister when they did it. Don't bite. They apply something to their breast so that the child, when it grows, will not drink milk, will not feed. That's what women do in rural in the past. I don't know what women do now. So Yerma says, and so it is painful. It was really painful. Breastfeeding is not always pleasuresome. It could be painful, but it was a good, wholesome pain. It's not an ordinary kind of pain. It's wholesome pain. and it kept her healthy. You know, I don't want to waste my time talking about modern women's views on breastfeeding and so on. So she remembers that. But I don't have this opportunity. I don't have this opportunity to feed my children. Then she meets one pagan woman. One can write a thesis on pagan women in this play. At least one good dissertation you can write. The relationship between pagan woman and Yerma. And this pagan woman, she is married and she is old and she has a son, and the son has no child, and she is waiting for a good woman, a strong woman for her son who can bear children. So Yerma comes into contact with this pagan woman, and because she is a woman, she is senior, she can advise her on having children and so on. So the dialogues between pagan woman and Yerma in this play are very very interesting, and they take us to a different level of aesthetic pleasure. Then Yerma asks, she always thinks about her barrenness, and she asks a question, why am I barren? Why am I barren? Am I to spend the best years of my life looking after the fowls or ironing dainty curtains to put up my little window? She asks this question. Yes, I am barren, but what should I do in my life? Should I spend my whole life should I spend my whole life only looking after the fowls, doing this work, the same work again and again? What is the purpose of my life? What should I be doing? What should I be doing? Only going to field, or looking after the sheep, or preparing food, taking care of my husband and his dependents, or just ironing the curtains and putting them at her little window. What should she be doing? No, you shall you just tell me what I have to do, and I will do it, she tells pagan woman. Now I am not born only for doing this. I am born for doing something else. You tell me what I should do, whenever it is. Even if you tell me to stick needles into the tenderest part of my eye, I will do that. Now she speaks like Lady Macbeth, but she is not like Lady Macbeth. She says, I am ready to take any risk to have my child. She doesn't mean that I can have relationship with anybody to have children, but I am ready to take risk. And she says, if you tell me to stick needles into the tenderest part of my eye, I am prepared to do that, because I want to have child. I can't be without children. I can't be without children. Life without children will be extremely boring and unpleasant, and I am not prepared to live such an unpleasant, boring, uninteresting life. Then this pagan woman says, see, you know, it's not your problem. You are capable of delivering children. You are a complete woman. But the problem is with your husband. She is hinting at the possibility of getting into contact with some other person, with some person other than her husband, to have children, she says. And only a strong man can beget children. In Jukumar Swami, I don't remember the character. She also says the same thing. It's not easy for a man to make woman pregnant. And here pagan woman also says the same. I just used to lie on my back. She narrates this story, how she begot children. I just used to lie on my back and start singing. She describes the relationship with her husband. It is It's very fresh, very romantic, and very fresh, and very um, forceful and forceful. And she says, this is what I used to do. And babies pour out like water. My husband was like that. And in a subtle way, she compares her husband with Yerma's husband Kwan. Yeah, the problem is with your husband. Babies pour out like water. Ah, you have got a beautiful body, you know. Yerma, you must remember that you have got a beautiful body. You can, anyone can see that. You don't know how beautiful you are, but anybody who sees you, who looks at you, will know that you have got very powerful, very beautiful body. Just walk down the street and the stallions will start neighing. You know, men, if you walk on the, if you walk down the street, strong men will follow you, meaning stallions, horses, powerful horses will follow you, and you do not have any problem. You can have children. Then she asks her, are you happy with your husband? Do you love your husband? She doesn't have any answer to this. Then, have you ever loved anybody other than your husband? And then she remembers one person called Victor, who belongs to her village, and who is senior to her. And on two occasions, she came in contact with him. I mean, he touched her. She remembers, you know, the body remembers the touch. Remember, the body remembers the touch. And a man or woman need not see the face to recognize whose hands they are. The body has the memory. So Yerma remembers her encounter with Victor. She tells pagan woman, he put his arm round my waist and I couldn't say a word to him because I couldn't speak. On one occasion, he put his arm round my waist and I could not say a word. I didn't resist, and I could neither resist nor say a word because I couldn't speak at all. Another time, what happened was, it was Victor again. It was Victor again. When I was 14 years old, he was a big, strong boy. He was a big, very strong boy. And she had some kind of liking for his big body, strong body. And what he did, he picked me up in his arms to get across a ditch. I was trying to pass through a ditch, and he noticed it, and he came and he held me. He picked me up in his arms and got across a ditch. I started trembling so much, my teeth chattered. But then I have always been very modest. She says, in my life, I came into contact with one person 2 times. That is Victor. After that, I have been leading a very modest life, she says. Then a pagan woman, she continues to persuade her to do something for which she is not prepared. She says, if your husband is not capable of giving you pleasure, you walk out of your wedlock, and or you can go in search of somebody who can give you pleasure. Pagan woman says, men have to give us pleasure, girl. They have to give us pleasure. They have to let down our hair and quench our thirst with their own mouths. The thirst, quench our thirst with their own mouths, not with a glass of water. So men with their own mouths have to quench the thirst of women, and they should let down their hair. They should give them the pleasure. But Yerma does not agree with what she says. Yerma says, but I never do it for pleasure. Okay, my relation with my husband, my lovemaking, the aim of my lovemaking, the aim of sex is not merely pleasure. It is more than that. A man should not only give sexual pleasure to a woman, he should do something else, because all the time, you cannot have sex. You can neither give not take. And are you supposed to want a man just for being a man and for nothing else? Then she says, "You are not trying to understand what I'm trying to tell you. As a flower in full bloom, you are. You are a fully bloomed flower. You are a perfect woman. You are a strong woman. You are a woman who is capable of making love, bearing, conceiving children. Such a beautiful creature. Such a beautiful creature you are. But you are too innocent, and that is your problem." So, if a woman is innocent, it is a problem. If woman loses innocence, it is also a problem. The problems of women, sometimes men don't understand. She says, "You are too innocent. That is your problem. You're not trying to understand what I'm hinting at. You're too innocent. That's your problem. You can never have children in your life." Then she says, "God help me then." Yerma says, "God help me then." Then this pagan woman says, "It is men you have to look to for help, not God. God will not come to your rescue. Only men will come to your rescue, my dear girl. It is men you have to look to for help, not God." Then Yerma says that I have seen your family, your husband's family. His father was not strong. His grandfather was not strong. They were not capable of giving, children, giving children to their wives. So you must come out of this, she says. Then, then this Kwan, her husband, he knows the problem. He knows the problem. He tells his wife many a time in the play, "Please do not bother about children. We cannot have children. How many times you ask me the same question? Why do you trouble me? Why do you force me to give you a child when it's not possible?" And people who do not have children are also leading good life, or can also be happy. You forget it and give you something, you be happy with this, for which she is not ready. I am not a machine. I am not a bird. I am a human being. I have my own desire. I have my own dreams, and so on. Then what he does, he brings his two sisters to his house to keep a strict watch on his wife, because he starts doubting her. Because she is going out, and he tells his wife not to leave your house. You spend all your time in your house. Don't go out. Don't talk to people. Never meet any stranger. Never meet man. Never meet any young or old, he tells her. But she doesn't care. She goes out. She meets people. She spends time to men, mostly women. Even her husband tells not to meet women, because they may exploit you. They may, influence your mind, and you may do something for which you may have to suffer in your life, and so on. Um, this is also one part of the story. But Irma says, "No, I can't do like that. You cannot control me like that. I will go out." She says, "I didn't come to these four walls to resign myself. I cannot surrender myself to these four walls of this house. I didn't come here to get confined within these walls. When I have a handkerchief tied round my head to keep my mouth shut, and my hands bound together in my coffin, that is when I shall resign myself," she says, which means when I die, I will surrender. When I die, I will surrender. When my dead body is put into a coffin, and when my mouth is shut and my hands are tied, then I will surrender. Until then, as long as I am alive, you cannot expect me to surrender myself to this house. She says, why don't you understand? Why don't you understand? What is a woman to you? Why don't you understand my problem? She says, I want to drink water, but there is no glass and no water here. You are telling me not to go out. I am thirsty. I want water. I want water. My thirst has to be quenched, has to be satisfied. I want to drink water, but there is no glass and no water. I want to climb up the mountain, but I have no feet. I have no feet. I want to embroider my petticoat, but I can't find any thread. This is the problem, my dear husband. In your house, you know, there is neither glass nor water. I want to drink water, and I want to climb up the mountain, but I do not have my feet. I want to embroider my petticoat. I don't have thread. You ask me to confine myself within these four, um, walls. You do not know what a woman really wants, what a country woman, what a village woman wants. A country woman who doesn't have children is as useless as a bunch of thorns. What is my life? I am not a bunch of flowers. I am not a tree which bears fruits. I am a tree which only bears thorns. I am like a bunch of thorns. My life, because I am a childless woman, and the life of a childless woman is as useless as a bunch of thorns. She is a bad woman, and she tells her husband, "My longing keeps growing as my hopes fade away." This is one of the extremely beautiful lines spoken by Yerma in this play. My longing, my desire keeps growing when my hopes fade away. Usually, this is the other way around. When your hopes fade away, then your longing, doesn't keep growing. You stop desiring when you lose your hopes. She says, even when I lose my hopes, you know my desire becomes more active. I desire more when I lose my hope. The more I lose my hope, the more I desire. My longing keeps growing as my hopes fade away. Then she realizes, it's impossible for me to have a child from my husband. Then what should I do? I want to have a child. I want to love a child. Then she thinks, I can be my own child. I end up believing, she tells her husband, I end up believing I am my own child. I am mother, I am my child, she says. Then Kwan yeah, tells her at the end of the play, in the second act and third act, she meets this pagan woman. Pagan woman tells, you come with me to a mountain, a religious place where barren women go, and there are saints living on that mountain. If they bless you, you will have your child. You can have children. This is what people say, and a lot of people in India also exploit barren women. They exploit them, and I don't say that everybody does this, but the chances of getting exploited are more when you barren women go to certain people, telling them to bless with children, because she is right. A pagan woman is right. It is men you have to turn to for help, not God. That's what she says. So Kwan tells his wife that it's not possible. You have to accept the reality, and he tells her, without children, life is sweeter. He says, without children, life is sweeter. Don't think that life is extremely painful, unbearable, intolerable, uninteresting, and very suffocating, and so on when you do not have children. but you, life can be sweeter without children. I'm happy not having them. I'm not happy. I'm happy not having them. I do not have children. I'm happy about it. We have no reason to feel guilty if we do not have children. We need not feel guilty. We are not responsible. Um, then she asks, then what do you think of me? What did you want from me? She asks. Her wife asks husband. She says, you yourself. You know, both of us live in peace. Forget children. Don't go anywhere. Don't meet anybody. I will take care of you. You be in my home. You be my inspiration. We will live together, and go on. Just go on. I want you, you yourself. Then she asks him an important question. You want me in the same way that you want to eat a pigeon. You know, there's no difference between a pigeon and me. You also want to eat me just as you eat a pigeon. Then this continues, and then this pagan woman wants to she wants to take the disadvantage of her barrenness. She tells her, you don't inform your sisters-in-law, don't tell your husband, you just come with me, we will go to some place, I will take you to some place and you can have your children. I will take you to some mountain where saints live, where people who have power live, and they can they can eliminate your barrenness. You come with me. Then she trusts her and goes to the mountain, and very secretly Kwan follows her, and she doesn't know that her husband is also her husband is following her, spying her. She does not know. So at the end of the play, pagan woman tells her very clearly, I have come to the last part of my presentation, I can take another 10 minutes. Pagan woman tells Yerma, she openly tells her, see, it's only men who can give you children, and now you forget your husband, and my son is also sitting on the mountain. You join him, and we three will live together. That's what she says. Pagan woman says, women come here to find another man. Why do women come to this mountain? They come here to find another man. And the saints work the miracle. She is deceiving her. She is just forcing her to commit a sin for which she is not ready. She says, if you are ready to, you have to find another man. You have to find a man other than your husband. Then the saints will work the miracles. My son is sitting behind the shrine. My son is sitting behind the shrine waiting for you. My house needs a woman. Join up with him and we will all three live together. My son is waiting for you. My house needs a woman, a strong woman, a beautiful woman, a woman who can bear children, and you join up with my husband. We three will live together. My son has good blood in his veins. That blood, Lorca talks about blood in almost every play of his, and in most of his poems. That pure blood, the strong blood. Okay, the title of one of his poems is the blood wedding. So my son has good blood in his veins like me. He is my son, as strong as I am. You will find the smell of babies there still if you come to my house. If you come to my house, join up my son and come to my house, you will have children very quickly. Your bed of ashes will turn to bread and salt for your little ones. You must know that the bed on which you lie is a bed of ashes. You come to my house, your bed of ashes will uh, turn to bread and salt for your little ones. Go on. Never mind what people say. Don't worry about the world. As for your husband, don't worry about your husband. We have got the guts and the weapons to stop him even crossing the road. He cannot cross the road. We have our people. I have posted my people at strategic points. They will check him and will stop him. We have weapons and to control your husband. But Yerma wants to have children, but she doesn't want to fall to any man. She doesn't want to love anybody. She doesn't want anybody. She explores the possibilities of getting children without getting into relationship with any other man. Stop, stop, she says. That's not the answer. I never do that. I can't go I can't go looking for another man. Do you suppose I could give myself to anyone else? What price do you put on my honor? What price do you put on my honor? My honor. A child is not the price for my honor. So if you keep child in the one, the child and honor. If you ask me to choose between the child and honor, I will choose the latter. So she says, water can't run uphill. The moment water can come down from the hill, it can't, run uphill. So I'm like that. Water can't run uphill, and the full moon can't come out midday. Get away from me. I will carry on as I am. Did you really think I could submit to another man? That I would beg him like a slave for what is my right? No, I'm, I'm not that sort of woman. I don't want to become a man's slave. I don't want to beg a man to give me a child. I want a child. This motherhood, I love motherhood. I want to be a mother. I want to feed my little ones, but not at the cost of my honor, she says. Know who I am, so that you will never speak to me again. I'm not on the hunt, she says. And when the discussion between Yerma and the pagan woman is taking place, her husband is hiding behind a tree and overhearing the discussion. And after the woman goes away, Kwan meets Yerma, and they discuss, and he says, "You please, you know, um, I have overheard the discussion, and this is what women do. This is the reason why I told you not to go out of the house. Now you come back to you come back with me. Let us go back and live together happily," and so on. He tells, and she is not ready because she is very desperate. She is frustrated. She is under tremendous pressure, and she is extremely desperate, and she feels extremely bad and unhappy, and she feels pain tremendously in her mind, soul, and body, and still she has some sense which she loses at the end of the play. And she says, Juan Kwan tells her that life without children, life can be sweeter. I'm happy not having them, and so on. He tells, and she says, no, that's not the point. That's not the point. She says, and you have never thought about your son when you have seen me longing for him. You never think of a son. You never think of a child. What kind of man you are? I have always thought about children. I have, cherished a strong desire for having children, which you have not bothered. That is the difference between you and me. He says, never. I can never think of children at all. Then she says, and I'm not to go on hoping he will come. I cannot hope. I cannot continue. Then he says, you don't have to hope. You resign yourself, for which she's not ready. Then it's night time, late evening. The moon is shining in the sky. He goes very close to his wife. Kwan goes very close to his wife, and looking into her eyes, he says, I want you. I want you. I don't want your children. I want you. Just you. Nothing else. I want you. Just you. In the moonlight, you look so beautiful, my dear wife. I feel like kissing you. I feel like embracing you. I want only you. Then she says, you want me in the same way that you want to eat a pigeon? Then he says, kiss me like this. He kisses her. Kiss me like this. Then she loses her control over her mind. Like that, I never will. Never. Having said this, Yerma cries out for a while. She weeps and cries and grips her husband's throat. She holds the throat of her husband and squeezes. He falls backward when she touches his throat. He falls back, and when he falls back, she squeezes his throat until she has killed him. So she murders her husband. He did not have any indication of this atrocity. He never thought that his wife would go to the extent of murdering him. In a minute it happened. In a minute it happened. And she feels extremely bad when she kills her husband, because her husband is also like her own child. Then she says, withered, faded away, withered, but sure of it. Now I know for certain it is true that I have murdered my husband and I am alone in the world. Now I had my husband, whether he was capable of giving me a child or not, but I had somebody to love, somebody to depend upon, somebody to look to for help, somebody to talk to, somebody to share my feelings, my emotions, or my anger, my frustration. But there is nobody. So she slowly gets up. People start together. Now I shall rest easy. Now I shall rest easy without startling myself awake to see if my blood gives promise of new blood. My body barren now and forever. Forever. Because I have lost my husband. There are absolutely no chance of getting children at all. I cannot fall for any man. I cannot just go and sleep with any man and have a child. Now, the possibilities that all the doors of getting a child are now closed once for all. I am barren now and I will be barren forever. What do you want to know? What do you want to know? She tells people. People are looking at her. What do you want to know? Don't come near me. I have killed my son. I have killed my son. With my own hands, I have killed my son. Curtain falls. The play comes to an end. So, what is done cannot be undone. Cannot be undone. I have not just killed my husband, I have killed my child too. And I have killed him with my own hands. So, this is Yerma is a tragic poem. It's a long, extremely beautiful, sad poem. Beautiful but sad poem. It tells the story of a woman, the story of a young woman who wants to become a mother, and she loves motherhood more than her own life or her husband. And when this motherhood is denied to her, she loses all, she loses hopes and suffers a lot. And at the end of the play, she murders her own husband. So, before I close my talk, I just take 1 minute to conclude. This is one of the most powerful plays written by the Spanish playwright and poet, Federico Garcia Lorca, and this is a very significant. This is a very significant play because it takes us to a very strange world. It takes us to a world where a woman longing for her motherhood, longing for children, and longing for a unique experience, turns violent, and her desire becomes an obsession, and an obsession leads to madness, and in madness she kills her own husband. So I must thank the Abhinay Bharti for giving me, for making me to read the play again and again. And I spent 2 days with Lorca, and I was part of his extremely beautiful, powerful, lovely, lively, very fresh, very strange, unique world. I thank the viewers. I thank the organizers. Thank you so much. Good night. May God bless you.
So did you end the video? Did you end the video?
You do it, and somebody will speak after me.
Okay.
Now I can leave and stay back.
No, so
Watch.
nobody else can speak.
I can watch. You close it.
You just ask her.
Mm.